Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey toward publication along with ours. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Welcome. What's your name again?
My name is Rhonda Hagerman. I am a nonfiction and fiction writer, and today we are doing a sort of like a little party for Jennifer Carl Tong's book launch.
Yep, because let's go through it. I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Kattan, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian dystopian fiction.
And I'm Janie Hirschberger. I write in multiple genres, usually short fiction. Welcome to the podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe.
All right,
Sorry,
ladies.
Rhonda. We've had quite
I'm
the
just
morning.
so excited about talking about Warren all day today.
I gotta say, before we get started, your background is the best. I feel like I really ruined. I should have done something more. All I have is the book here, but you rocked it, girl. That's awesome.
Well, I'm so excited, like I said. And I'm not going to show you the card that I got in the mail from Warren today. It said, "Would you be my doll for the rest of my life?"
Aww.
So, okay. All right. So anyway, before we get into that, let's talk about what we've been doing. What's up, you guys? Let's do Jennifer last today. So, Tina?
Well, I wrote the end on my first draft of my rewrite.
Yay!
And putting it away for a month. And then, so now I'm working on my short story, novelette-ish kind of book about the dog Shugiak that figures prominently in my novel. And that's going to be my reader magnet. So I'm working on that. And so I'm really excited about moving on.
That's great.
Jamie, what have you been doing?
Who, me?
Yeah, Jamie.
Oh, I gotta say, I've been enjoying the Florida sunshine. I'm from Michigan, and y'all are going through it right now with the weather. So I'm just gonna say that I won't tell you that it is 80 degrees and sunny just over there. That's why you keep seeing me look over here, because I'm like, this is why we did it. Now, I know that come August, I'm gonna be like 90 again, and you guys are gonna be like, I don't want to hear it. You know, Michigan has beautiful summers, and I will never say anything negative about a Michigan summer, but man, Florida's got y'all in the winter. So it's just been really good to get some awesome vitamin D and top-down weather, convertible top, not that kind of podcast. And so that's just what's been really going on with me. What about you, Tina? What do you have going on?
Oh, I already did mine.
But
let's go to Jennifer.
Jennifer, what do you have going on?
I'm supposed to be last. I'm so glad we're live today. This will be a lot of editing. If I had to edit this, I would be at it for a week. Rhonda,
okay,
let's go
real quick. I have been working on my second draft, and I think I'm going to get it. My goal was to get it done before the end of February, and I think I'm going to get it done before that. So I'm super excited about that. But I'm even more excited to hear about Jen's new release. Let's talk a little bit about that to start.
So not a lot going on with me. Just kidding. It is release day. My very first novella, Searching for Anna, is official. It's out today, available on Amazon and at Faith Christian stores. Yes, I am very, very excited. So we're going to talk more today in the podcast about my release party tonight. But yeah, that's been my life. That, and it's Valentine's Day, and I have little girls, so it's all been about. You should see my dining room table. It looks like St. Valentine threw up on it, like heart stickers and glitter and everything from all the boxes made. So my life's been all about love this week, and so yeah, it's very exciting.
Was that before or after they cut his head off?
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Oh boy.
I'm sure when we celebrate Valentine's Day, I'm sure is on point. So when they cut his head off, it probably was like red glitter that came out in that blood.
Oh man.
Because we would never get it wrong in America. We would never celebrate a holiday improperly, ever.
Never.
Well, I'm glad you got your finger on the pulse of that one. Okay. So let's just continue talking about you and your launch party. Well, actually, Tina, why don't you tell us what is a launch party? And why would you have it? Would you have it online, offline, in person? Just give us the down low on it.
Well, a launch party is basically just a party that when you release your new book. And it can be done online. You could do it in the bookstore. And it's really just a way to get the word out and get publicity for your book so that people will come and buy it.
Well, that's a good reason. It's sort of like, people are buying you birthday gifts, and it's just all the same gift that they're giving themselves. Okay.
It's kind of like Christmas. It's Jesus' birthday, but we get ourselves gifts.
Yeah. Okay, so Jennifer, you are planning an online one. So can you tell us what's gone into that?
Yeah, I embarrassingly little has gone into my online party. Trying to figure out how to do this has been not quite a mystery, but it's just so all over the place of how people run these. I've been to a few myself. There's a few authors that I follow. When I saw that they were having online release parties, I signed up because I knew that I was going to be doing it eventually. So I did that, and I learned a lot of things I thought were cool that I want to do, but then I learned a lot of things I didn't want to do. So I guess the first thing I had to do was I had to figure out what I wanted to happen in the party. And really, it's all about giveaways. I want to have giveaways for people that are tuning in, and I want to have conversations. So other parties I had gone to, they had utilized events in Facebook. So you'd have to actually sign up for the event. You'll get a reminder, and then you go to the event. And what I didn't like about that, if you have a huge following, that's perfect. That's probably the way you'd have to do it. But I don't have a huge following. This is my first book. And so I wanted it to be something that anyone that just kind of happens to be on Facebook would get a ping and say, hey, Jen's having a party, come join it. So I am just going to do a Facebook Live through my Facebook page, shared into my group, who are awesome. Can I just stop right now and say the ladies in my readers group are awesome, and men. There's some men there. Sorry. They're so supportive and great. And it's just been a lot of fun this past week getting ready for this. So that's kind of how I went about figuring it out.
Can I just say that I believe that the purpose of having something like a launch party would be sort of like the reason an author would have social media of any kind in an effort to engage with their reader. Because what you're trying to do is convert a reader into a fan. Yes. You want them to come back to buy the next book. You want them to be invested in your career just a little bit, the way that someone who might be related to you would be invested. So you're kind of trying to make that personal connection to show the reader that there is a person behind these books that they are also supporting when they buy your work. And also, a lot of people who are reading your work are going to want to know, how do you come up with these ideas? Or how did you think of these characters? And this is the kind of thing that they can get at a launch party. And if you have a reputation for putting on these events where they can get some insider access, you can really turn a reader into a fan.
Yes, that is a really good point, because the online release party, actually any kind of release party, isn't really about look at me. It's about you. It really is, and it should be targeted towards what can I do to make this fun for my reader? What do they want? What would just make this all about them and thanking them for buying the book or encouraging them to buy the book? And so that's a really good point. So one of the things, I'm not going to focus on the story. We're not going to do any spoilers tonight. We're not going to talk about the story. We can talk about how much we love Warren. Don't worry, Rhonda. You can have your love fest with Warren. We can talk about how we love how they came together and how, but we're not going to talk about how frustrated we were with this part or what about this part. We're not going to mention Florence. We're not going to do any of that stuff and give away any spoilers. It's going to be more about celebrating the people that helped me do this. So one of the things that I had read and I plan on doing is really going through my acknowledgments, and make sure that I kind of discuss that with people. The inspiration for sure is going to be a huge part, like when I am doing talking, but I really want to answer questions too. I want to chat with people. I want to thank people. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into a novel that if you haven't written one, you don't know. And even as you're struggling, if you are a writer that is just starting off and you think you know, you have a better idea than anybody that's never picked up a pen and tried to write a novel. But until you've made it all the way through to this particular day, you don't have a clue. There's just so much. Wouldn't you agree, ladies? There's just so many people you have to rely on and get help from. And it's a lot of work, and it's not just on your shoulders. So this is another opportunity too for me to be able to thank those people that have helped make this happen.
Okay. So you mentioned you're not going to talk about the story, and maybe one or two other things you mentioned, but is there anything else that you say do not do at your launch party? Especially if it's juicy. Tell us that too.
Well, all right. So I already told you that especially if you're starting out, that you should not do an event page for it. There'll be other authors that will disagree with that, but my opinion is don't do it as an event. Just do it as a Facebook Live. Another thing I would say don't do, and I think I'm probably going to end up making this mistake because I really was just something in my prayer over the past 24 hours that I've thought about, is I really probably should have arranged with one of you ladies to be on with me live instead of just being me. Because I do Facebook Lives with my group all the time, and it's fine. Like, we chat it up, and I'm okay with that. But this is more, it's longer probably, and it should be more organized than a regular Facebook Live. So it really would have behooved me to have like gotten one of you ladies to be on there, like what we did in October with Preptober, where there was 2 of us, to like really like kind of push the questions and to help me to keep on top of like the comments people were making, the questions they're asking, and just to make it so much more chatty and fun. So
I think that helps too, to give it more of a party atmosphere, because watching 2 people feels like more energy or something.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something we have to talk about off the air.
Right. So having a person there online with me, and then having also people like on there in the chat area, like having like, say, one of you ladies would be on with me and the other 2 would be on there chatting, helping answer questions that I'm missing, because you guys have been along this road all the time, and just helping keep conversation going and stuff too. Plus you 3 can message me like individually and separate from it, like, hey, did you see this question? Or, hey, we need to like take care of this, and don't forget this, and where other people won't be doing that. So yeah, so that's something I wouldn't do. There was one more thing I was going to say that I wouldn't do, and now.
Well, Jen, how about like reining it in time wise? Like, I'm sure you don't expect people to hang around for 5 hours for your launch party. So how long? Like, what kind of parameter are you thinking to put on the time of this?
So, yes, my opinion, and we'll see how it goes. My opinion is an hour. I've been at other authors do it for 2 hours, and to me that just seems excessive. It's fun for a while, and I guess if you have rabid fans, if you have fans that are just so excited to have contact and have like direct contact with you, and they're waiting to see if you're going to answer their question, then you might take you 2 hours. But it feels to me, the ones I've been in, it feels like at about an hour I'm done, and I feel like that the author is like done but putting on a really good face.
Well, yeah, because I wonder if you're not talking about the content of the book,
right?
What are people asking that would take 2 hours?
I agree.
Unless they're expecting it to be like a drop-in thing where, the audience is continually rolling over and you just repeating the same thing over and over again. I've seen that too in other venues, not a launch party, but.
And I don't want my party to be that way, because people can tune in later and watch it over again. I don't want to keep repeating it. I want it to be fresh and fun, and so I think that's a really good point, the repeating thing. So I think an hour max. Plus, I feel like if you make it short, an hour might be too long. We'll find out tonight. If you make it short enough, people are going to show up on time. You promote it, and people are going to be there because they don't want to miss out on the giveaways. And then it helps to add to the excitement and the fun and the festivities of it, by everybody being there and like, be on the edge of their seat, am I going to win? Am I going to win? Am I going to win? So yeah, so that's a really good point. And then, I have another plan too, because some authors do slip into starting to share content, which I think is like terrible, because if it's release day, I haven't got my book yet. Yes, all of your beta readers, and I have a few of those, and they already have their books. So they're all excited to talk about the book, but there's other people that are only going to be able to get it today, order it, or go down to the Family Christian store, which if you're local, it's there now. It's on the shelves. You can go get it as soon as they're open now. You can go get it right now. They want to talk about it. Like, they're excited. And in my reader group, there's already been some chatting and people saying, I read it, so good, yay. So I don't want to slip into that. So my plan is a week from today, Thursday again at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a book club party. So for those that have read the book and are in my reader group, you have to be both. So if you're not in my reader group and you would like to be part of this, go join it right now. Go to Facebook to Facebook/Jennifer Carl author, and then you'll find my reader group and ask to join that. For them, then we're going to have a book club. Then we're going to sit down and we're going to have a whole talk about the story and about the characters, and we'll gush about how much we love them or hated some of them, because there's some that you'd want to hate too. So I feel like by doing it that way, I'm going to satisfy all the readers, but we'll see. Like, again, this is my first, so we're kind of like taking you on the journey with us and seeing how it goes.
I have sort of a question for us to maybe brainstorm. Okay. How do you all think? Because as I'm listening, I'm thinking, great that you have people who are already excited to talk about the book. How do you turn those people into recruiters for you to encourage them to maybe hand a copy of the book to a friend, so that you double potentially your fan base by mobilizing the people who already love what you're doing? Is there a way that we can think of to incentivize those people? Or is this maybe something we need to ask our audience to send us suggestions? Like, perhaps you give away 2 copies of your book, one for you and one for you to give away to a friend, or something. Can you guys think of another way?
Well, as a reader, I talk about the books that I like to read. If I like a book, believe me, you've heard about it. So I think you've got the voracious readers. I think they just share what they like to read.
I agree. And I found too, like, if people love you, like, so my first book, the people that are promoting it for me, like what you're saying, Jamie, are people that just love me. They probably, most of them haven't read anything that I've ever written, but they love me. So they're sharing, and I'm finding that that's giving me a lot of traction. But, that will only happen so long as people, they're excited for the first book. But after you've been writing for a while, that just probably will seem old hat to them. But I think that your point to making fans is important, and then you turn those fans into super fans. If you treat your fans in your reader group, that's what a reader group is for. A reader group is not to promote your book. That's, I think, a mistake that a lot of people make. The point isn't to promote your book. The reader group is for your fans, to service them, give them extra, to let them know how special they are to you, let them know how important they are to your career, because they are. And giving them extra giveaways, giving them extra insight, just being there chatting with them and treating them like they are your friends, which a lot right now, they all are my friends, but they will become super fans by that. And then when you have a super fan, then they will just share because they love you and your work so much. So that's my hope. But I really love the idea of giving away 2 copies, and I have enough to do that. So tonight when I'm doing giveaways, that's probably what I'll do, is like, I'll give away a copy for you and a copy for a friend. So
yeah. And if you, if you just kind of somehow figure out a way, I'm sorry, my little Roomba thing is going, I might have to mute myself. So if you could figure out a way to just sort of ask also, give this away to someone who belongs in this circle of readers and hasn't discovered it yet, it might kind of give them a little push to mobilize them in the way that you would want.
Right. And we have a future podcast coming up about reader groups and how I built mine and different strategies that we can use for building reader groups.
Fun.
So that because I'd love to go down a rabbit trail right now and talk about that, but I think I'll hold back, and because we could really talk a whole lot on reader groups.
Okay, then let me ask you this: are you going to do this for every book that you release?
Well, okay, yes, I am, except for probably the next book. So Anna is my first release, but it's a novella, and she really was supposed to be just my freebie giveaway. But in the day and age of self-publishing, why not do a print version? And so I went ahead, and this has been my practice for the next book, which is really the big books. Avoiding Esther was supposed to be book one, but because of the way Amazon works, this one had to be called book one, which is fine. So Esther, my husband, has requested that I actually do a live in-person book release. So I don't know how that will look with trying to do that in conjunction with an online one. I'd like to try to figure that out so that those people that can't come in person would be there. But yeah, so regardless, every book, even though I plan on releasing every 3 months, I want to do a book release party for each one because I just think that's important for my readers. You know, again, the book release parties are for them, not for me. I was a little nervous about doing it at first because I felt like, oh gosh, it's all about, hey, look at me. But it isn't. When you really look at what a book release party is, it is about your reader. It has nothing to do with promoting yourself or saying, look at how great I am. It's really about, you're so great. Here's what I want to do for you.
I've seen other events, they weren't necessarily book launch parties, where the person was there live doing whatever they were doing, and then they had a sidekick who was online doing the Facebook Live, and then every now and then they would like kind of interrupt or however you want to say it, and like ask them a question, and just like keep the audience on Facebook Live up to date with what's going on in the actual party. So that's another idea of how you could do both at the same time.
That would be super, super fun. This is something else I forgot to mention. Maybe I just got busy talking, but if you want to have a successful reader party, release party, I think you have to have a schedule for it. Have a Microsoft document or some other sort of document open with things that you want to share. Like if I want to share my dedication, like I'm going to have that so I can just copy and paste it really quick in the discussion. So you're not trying to type things for people to read later. Same thing with it, what Tina was saying, have it regularly scheduled. Okay, a quarter after I'm giving away a book. At 9:30, we're going to be talking about whatever. If I had my game on, I would share the cover for the next book. But it's still rough draft form. There's no way I'll have that ready, but that would be exciting.
Maybe you could have a contest to say, do you like A better? Or do you like B better?
Hey, maybe. So,
but still, so if you miss this opportunity, no worries, because you could also make that another special thing for only the insiders of your Facebook group.
Right. That's what I normally do. The insider, the circle, which is what we call it. Jamie came up with it and I love it. Christian, indie, writers, connect, laugh, encourage. I couldn't remember the last three, but the circle is my readers group. And that's what I do. They get to see all that stuff first. They get to see little tidbits that I will share from the writing. So.
Okay, so I've got a question for Tina. You have been talking lately about how, and you and Jen both have the same book you're working out of, and basically you have your entire year for publishing and writing scheduled out. Have you started thinking about a launch party for yourself? Or when would you put that in or start thinking about it?
Well, my novelette called, well, the working title, I'm just calling it Chugiak right now because it's his story. July is when I'm going to release that. And I have vaguely started thinking about a launch party, and I was kind of going to, take mental notes during this podcast. And then, sit down and, because, 3 months out is when you really start the promoting process. And so I really have to start thinking about my social media presence and all that stuff.
And really,
July.
I'm sorry to jump on you, Tina, there.
Okay.
I feel a little bit like, can I just shift our focus for a moment? Because this is like, yay, Jennifer's readers, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's a shame that there isn't sort of like a party for, hooray, you published a book. Like you ran this marathon and a marathon runner gets to break the banner and fall into the arms of the people and everybody hugs them. And now they don't have to walk for 3 days because everybody's like, look what you just did. And there isn't really enough of that, I don't think, for writers who actually do what they started to do months ago. I mean, all the blood, sweat, and tears and everything and the sacrifice. So good for you, Jennifer. Hooray. And when I celebrate, that's what I'll be celebrating tonight. So just to let you know.
Jamie, that is a wonderful sentiment. That's so precious. but I haven't. You have already got a few books on Amazon, and I haven't heard any book launch party talk from you about your own stuff. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that Jennifer is who I feel like everybody should be watching for how to do things the right way. I'm the person you want to be watching for how to do things your own way and hopefully stumble onto success somewhere. So I am still in the process of just like, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And all of this stuff coming into me while I try to figure out how I'm going to handle promotion and all these things. I'm just still publishing while I do that because I did not form a plan and execute a plan. I wrote a book and thought I need to be published because I said I was going to be published and I threw it out there. So I'm kind of backward pedaling into the whole promotion and whatever. And I'm kind of learning right along with all of our audience about things like launch parties and whatever. But I'm just not letting that slow me down as far as the publishing process goes.
All right. So a book launch party, I guess because of the title, it would have to be when you launch the book. But is there ever a time where you promote a book that's been on Amazon for a while?
Oh yeah, because you run sales on them, and a lot of authors. First of all, I just need to comment on what Jamie said. Jamie is underselling the amount of work and the plan that she has. Her plan is different than mine. There's nothing like I thought you were about to say that to watch you for how not to do it. And I was about to like jump all over you. Jamie's plan is different than mine. Mine is a plan of every 3 months. Mine is really kind of more the romance writers kind of way of doing things. And the readers of my work, the fans of romance are different than the fans of sci-fi short fiction. Sci-fi short fiction, they just want you to write again. They're not, I believe they're not as much into the personal contact as they are of give me something more to eat. Like I'm hungry, give me more reading to do. And Jamie is feeding that for her fans. And I think that she is right on target with where she should be. It doesn't mean that she shouldn't do release parties, and maybe eventually she will, because she's got, other bigger works in the process as well. So that's just something that she'll figure out. But I always want to make sure like she's my hero. So don't even try to act as if I'm somehow like doing this the right way and you're not. So anyway,
I appreciate that.
Now I forgot the original question. Do you remember it?
Is there ever a time to promote something that's been on Amazon for a while? And I would say, well, for sure. I mean, you have to get your book in front of people that aren't your mother, your aunt, your uncle, or whatever. And there's a whole episode we could have about the promotional end of things. And I think we have the business of writing as a scheduled future podcast episode. So there's my Roomba again. So anyway, I think that if everybody stays tuned, they will kind of watch along with us as we go through all of that marketing stuff.
Right. And most experts say, there's lots of different kinds of experts, but say don't put any money into promotion until your series is finished. When the last book comes out, that's when you put all the money into it, because people, we live in a Netflix society. People want to binge consume, even books. And so there will be a lot of people that want to read my books will not purchase a single one until the fourth one comes out in the fall. And that's fine, and so, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to go through all of the steps of all this, because for me, it's a learning process. So hopefully by the time Sarah's story comes out, which is the last sister, the last of the series, this will become second nature to me, and I will have a system, and it'll be smoother than what today is going, because today's not been so smooth so far, and I haven't even gotten to the party yet. So
was that supposed to be like a slipping in the name of Jamie's book into your conversation thing? You just said second nature.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Yes. Now available on Amazon.
Sure is. Yeah, it's fun.
As soon as she slips in second prance, then it will be a party.
Second prance. That's great.
Okay. Any last thoughts about the... Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So any last thoughts on what goes into planning the party, or should we move on?
I just say, like, if it's something that you're looking to do or thinking that someday you're gonna have to do, tune in tonight and see how we do. See all the mistakes that are made, take some notes on what you think was good, and then in 3 months tune in again and if we've gotten any better at it. And then in 3 more
great.
months. 3 more months, try it again. So.
Yes, we are officially going on the record as like, here is the first one, right? This is the learning curve situation. Awesome, Jen. Good job.
And I
Kind of,
That's funny.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Tina.
no, go ahead.
It's
Tina.
kind of like raising your kids.
Mm.
Like the first one tends to be the experiment. And then
Oh,
by,
yep.
by the time you get to the fourth one, which I had 4 kids, you kind of got it down, right? So since I'm probably going to be the 4th person of this group of 4, we'll have it down perfect by that time.
According to Tina's theory, I need to have another 6 kids because poor Phoebe, I still don't know what I'm doing with that kid. All right. Before we go, I just want to say, Rhonda, that is the greatest backdrop that has ever
Oh,
existed
do you like that?
in the
I
history.
couldn't believe Warren sent me a gift today.
That was so nice.
You need to lift your camera up just a little bit so we can see the whole thing.
We can't see the top of the.
I love you.
I said, I love you. Oh, that is the best. Now, how does your husband feel about this? Has he seen this yet?
Oh no. He hasn't seen it.
You guys all look so lovely today in your red. I wanted to wear red today too, and this was the first thing I saw, and I'm like, I'll represent my alma mater today. And I come out here, and you guys are like gorge, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt, so it's like, oh well, loving on the BU. So happy Valentine's Day, ladies. This has been great.
I feel like we need to tell our listeners that Warren is the main love interest in your book, and that's what's so funny about Rhonda's backdrop.
This one right there.
Yeah, and Rhonda is in love with a fictional man.
From day one of this novella, which was supposed to be a short story, and you'll get a little bit about that when in the notes for me at the back of the book. Rhonda has been in love with Warren. Like from the very first time that I read a little piece of what I was going to do, she just was in love with him. And so this has been our joke for now. We're going on 2 years now. This has been a 2-year process. So
I really appreciate Rhonda's effusive praise. When she loves a character, she will read everything you write about that character. And I think that's a lesson for all of us as writers, that if we can make our characters real to people, they will want to read more about them and share the adventures as much as we love to write them.
Right.
So,
and I do spend some time in my acknowledgments, a little bit of time talking about you ladies and the other 2 ladies from our writing group. But I just want to take a moment right now and just say how much I appreciate you. This would never have happened if it wasn't for the 3 of you and Gina and Barb. This book is completely 100% possible because you were not only my writing group that kept me accountable and helped me to produce a good book, but you were my friends as well that kept encouraging me spiritually as well as just as a friend. And I appreciate you more than I would ever be able to say.
The feeling's mutual.
I love you guys.
You make me cry. I have makeup on.
Good luck trying to make me cry.
I know, right? I didn't say if you cry, then there's something wrong. Actually, I'll feel like I'm probably out of anger. I can't believe she did that to him. I'm never reading anything again.
Right. Okay.
All
right. Well, we covered that pretty thoroughly, I think. So, do you want to move on to our writing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Feeding of the backs. All right. So, what we do is we take 15 minutes before the podcast. And we take 5 words. We all try to insert those words into our 15 minutes worth of writing. For some of us, it's 1,000 words. For some of us, it's 100 words. And it is completely unedited. And so this is just going to be basically praise. So we're feeding our backs.
Yes, I just have to confess that it was more like 17 minutes today because when the timer went off, I said curses. And Jennifer's like, take another couple minutes. So just confession time. Yes, I had a little extra time today.
Because I know how awesome you write and I want the whole thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, do we want to randomize or do we just want to let me choose somebody?
Just choose somebody.
All right, Jamie, you got the extra time. So
awesome. Except I closed the window. So
right.
someone else will have to go first.
Tina, you go first.
Okay, I'm gonna tell everybody what the words were, and then I'll go ahead and just start reading. So the 5 words that we needed to try to use were medieval, recognize, wrestle, upset, and vision. I need to make this bigger because I'm getting older and I can't see as well.
I know, I don't have my glasses.
I don't have mine either. When we sat down, I was like, darn it.
Tracy wasn't sure what the big fascination with medieval costumes was. She dug at the laces on her bodice, trying to loosen them a little. She got Joe, the tavern owner, frowning at her, so she hurried to the empty table near the door and began clearing the empty goblets from it. Next summer, she would settle for a job at McDonald's, she thought to herself. She heard shouting from the handmade jewelry booth. One of the festival patrons appeared to be upset with the booth owner and was shouting at her. Tracy was of the opinion that the jewelry was way overpriced, but she wasn't sure it was a reason to yank the booth owner into the road by the hair and wrestle her to the ground. A crowd was gathering now, blocking Tracy's vision of the debacle. It was then that she turned and saw her ex, Toby, walking toward the tavern tent with his arm around his new girlfriend. "Oh, please don't be coming here," she pleaded silently to the universe, but the universe was oblivious to her mere human problems. As Toby and his new buxom blonde sat at a table, Tracy turned her back to them and bowed her head, hoping the stupid bonnet she was wearing, along with the dress right out of King Arthur's castle, would keep him from recognizing her. She hurried into the kitchen with a tray full of dirty goblets and tried to think of a reason not to go back out there. Joe came into the room, frowning at her again. "What is your problem today, Tracy?" he said, obviously about to begin his usual tirade about idle hands and hard work. "I think I'm going to throw up," Tracy said. "My little brother must have gave me his stomach bug." Joe looked at her in alarm. "And you came to work anyway? Go, get out of here before you get people sick and they blame it on food poisoning." He shook his head and headed to the phone, presumably to call somebody in to replace her. Tracy took off her apron and bonnet and grabbed her purse. Now she only needed to avoid Toby and his wench on the way out. Tracy hurried to her car as quickly as she could, pretending it was because she was afraid of throwing up, but secretly smiling inside. She would be able to make her friend Jennifer's book launch party after all.
Oh,
Yay!
I love the surprise ending.
that's so awesome. I'm going to say right now, do you know I had a friend who swallowed syrup of Ipecac or whatever to make herself throw up so that we could go out. And then while we were there, like her manager's kid was at the bar where we were at. Yes, this was when I was still doing the bar thing. And so she was like totally busted because, yeah. But anyway, I love Toby traveling to the tent or whatever. That was some lovely alliteration there. And I love the whole attitude of this chick. She is just like irritated by these corsets and she's just had enough of all of it. It's great.
And I love that you added the release party. We didn't mention this before, but right before we started writing, like we added that as a bonus. Like you get extra points for those whoever's keeping points. Like you get extra points if you somehow weave the release party in there. So that was awesome.
Yay. Good job, Tina. I love that character.
So can I ask you, that was such a complete, detailed story. Did you base the characters on something you had already worked on, or they just popped out of your head?
No, I just remember. I think it was last summer, maybe, or the summer before. There was a huge problem at the Renaissance Festival with people getting food poisoning.
Oh,
I remember that.
Yeah, so that's kind of stuck into my inspiration.
Okay. All right.
It was so
good job,
well put together. Yeah.
All right, Jamie, let's see what those two.
All right, I got it. Yeah, finally, I've pulled it up here. All right. Hot tears threatened to fall down Joni's cheeks, and she wiped them away. "Honey, everything's going to be okay." Jerry's voice called to her from the sofa. She looked at him and almost laughed. He was surrounded by a sea of multicolored latex balloons. They were everywhere, on the sofa next to him, on the floor at his feet. As he spoke, he gestured wildly with an orange one he had half inflated. "There are still 2 hours before the first guest is scheduled to arrive. I think we've got it under control." "Under control," the baby agreed. He was perched next to his dad on the arm of the sofa. helping, which in this case meant taking the inflated balloons from his father and tossing them on the floor while yelling "bombs away" in his adorable 2-year-old accent. Joni gave her boys a smile and went into the kitchen where it felt safe to let the tears fall. She hid her sobs in a hand towel, but did a poor job of it because Jerry appeared at her side only moments later. "Hey, babe," he said, rubbing her shoulder. "I don't like seeing you so upset. I'm here. How can I help?" Joni looked up as though gravity or God could help slow the stream of tears. Frankly, she could use the help of both. "Please, God," she whispered. "I want to help," Jerry said again. Joni let out a large breath and let her shoulders fall. "You've been so helpful. Please know that," she said, placing her hand on top of her shoulders, which should be on top of his. "It's just that when I dreamt of this day, this launch party of my novel, the day I actually became a real writer, it seemed like it would be one thing, but when I look around, I can't recognize that original vision in anything I see actually happening. I'm just wrestling with disappointment right now. I'll be okay." "How are things different than what you imagined?" "Well, it all started with the invitations. I thought I could save a bit of money printing them myself, you know. I got the fancy cardstock, a nice template, made a good design, but that medieval printer we have just chewed them all up on the way out." "Yeah, I remember. That was not a fun night," Jerry said. "And then there was the trouble with the caterers, and my parents' car broke down, and they were the only people to actually RSVP, so I don't even know that anyone is going to show up." Joni felt like she might cry again. She put her head down and wondered if praying from this posture would be any more effective. "Hey, babe," Jerry said, tipping her chin up with his fingers. "I have to tell you, you've gotten it all wrong." "What do you mean?" "I mean, you've been a real writer for a long time now. Weeks before this." He threw his hands out in an encompassing gesture. "I mean, whatever this debacle turns out to be, you sat down and started doing the hard work. You put your butt in that chair and sacrificed and did what needed to be done to become a real writer." Joni smiled. She opened her mouth to thank her husband, but before she could, she heard the words, "Real Wida," and turned around to see her 2-year-old, fists in the air, a balloon clenched in one chubby hand and his soiled diaper clenched in the other. "Oh my goodness," Joni said, and she and Jerry laughed.
I love that. I love everything about that.
I love Jamie. I love you.
Yeah.
You like completely know us because I just love that. That is exactly it. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. We are. Every single person watching this podcast, you've been a writer from day one. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. Publishing day is just another step in this journey that we're all on. And I appreciate that, Jamie.
Well, thank you.
One line that I really loved is when she looked up as if God or gravity would stop the tears.
Mm-hmm. And I love Jerry. He's the best.
Well, every writer. Do you remember Jerry from the Moon Story? Mm-hmm. So I'm almost thinking this might be her.
Okay. I wondered, but was her name Joni?
Never said it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wondered as soon as you said
Joni.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I remembered that he was Jerry too, and it sounded like the voice was the same, and it just seemed like it fit his character, and just so awesome. Every writer should have a spouse like that.
Mm-hmm. Please finish this book.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys like that.
Good job. Who wants to follow that?
I'm over here talking.
I'm not following it.
I was over here talking, and I had myself muted, and I was wondering why you guys were all ignoring me. But the dirty diaper was my favorite part. So there we go.
Oh, good. That's why I needed those extra 2 minutes. I need to get that toddler into the room.
You got to lighten it up with a dirty diaper. So, all right, I will go next. I don't mind, even though it is nowhere near as beautiful as what you just wrote. So mine's a little funnier, hopefully. All right, here I go. She would not get upset. She wouldn't. Nothing was going to ruin this day, not even the ridiculously slow machinations of the Tim Hortons employees who, in their medieval training practices, must have missed the lessons on preparing a proper cup of iced coffee. Come on, people. It's not that difficult a task. Recognizing that her ill temper was related more to the impending stress of the day than the actual quality of the customer service she was receiving, Jen decided to bite her tongue. This pimply-faced college student was just trying to make it through the day, just like she was. Jen stepped out of the coffee shop, subpar iced beverage in hand, and her vision was momentarily blurred by something bright and orange. What was that? Oh yeah, the sun. It had been so long since the beacon of hope had made an appearance over the wintry skies of Michigan that she had nearly forgot what it looked like. She looked away and kept walking. No use getting excited. It was only mid-February, for goodness sake. That ball of gas wouldn't be a regular feature to the sky for at least 6 more weeks. Hashtag pure Michigan, she grumbled under her breath. After several minutes of wrestling with the inside of her tote bag disguised as a purse, and there you go. Hey, my dad just walked in with Valentine's for my girls.
That's doggy language.
That's why the dogs are yelling. All right, so let me continue. After several minutes with wrestling with the inside of her tote bag disguised as a purse, she finally found her keys. She needed to add clean out purse to her to-do list below. Toby, I'm really sorry, guys. This is live.
All right, it's not distracting.
Okay. She needed to add clean out purse to her to-do list right below clean entire house and keep children alive. Today was supposed to be a great day. Fun, in fact. Her new book would release today. She had a live podcast to do, which was always a highlight for the week. And to end the glorious day, her first ever online release party at 9 p.m. What better way to celebrate Valentine's Day when your husband is out of town? She pulled into the elementary school parking lot 5 minutes ahead of schedule. She might even have time to put on lipstick before they go live in 15 minutes. Hey, Mom, I forgot to tell you that I signed you up to bring 32 Valentine's cupcakes to my party this afternoon. Baby girl said as she slid out of the back seat. See you at 1. She would not get upset. She wouldn't.
Oh, I love it.
Where did you find the inspiration for this? That was a great story.
None of that happened today. We did go to Tim Hortons. They were perfectly excellent. There was no pimply faced college student. Well, there were, but like they were fine. And like I didn't have any of that stuff. It was more about just like not feeling well and everything else. So yeah. And I don't have to bring cupcakes. Thank you, Lord. I do not have to do that today. So
we don't have to worry about euthanized dogs going on to the to-do list.
No, my sweet little pup. Then my poor dad. He left. He's probably like freaking out that he interrupted. He'll be fine. I'll call him later. Yeah.
You're muted. I don't know if you want to say anything or not.
But just so you know, like I looked over, he was only carrying 3 Valentine's boxes, which means I got stiffed again. So I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
All right. I want to hear what you got, Rhonda.
Yeah, what do you got for us, Rhonda?
Here comes my 100 words. All right. I think I used all the words. All right.
Yay.
Oh, I did too.
Okay. Another party to plan. I've been so excited when she asked me of all people to do this most important job. She had never been to one of my parties before, so I'm not sure why I was chosen for this task. Looking through my overflowing closet of party favors, props, cupcake stands, and one very large inflatable medieval club mace, I took inventory of my Valentine's Day items. It's strange how many glittery red hearts and pink bows I have. Is this some form of overcompensation? I'll save the self-therapy for a time I'll actually do something about my neuroses. Not. Having satisfied myself that I have most of what I need, I wrestle the door closed. I recognize the faint tinkle of breaking glass and the hollow sound of boxes falling. No reason to get upset. I shrug and walk back to my desk in the kitchen. I count how many days are left until the expected party date on the calendar above my desk. 3 days? How did I not realize today was the 11th? No wonder she asked me. Does she think I won't have a date or anything else to do for that day? I fume out loud. Then my shoulders sink as I realize she's right. I won't. Pouting about the newly realized state of things, I shuffle through the recipe books which are on the shelf above my head. I need something with few ingredients that I can make ahead. Mallow bars? I could call them Mallory bars. I slam the book closed so I can focus on my new bad mood. What is a book launch party anyway? This is another made-up holiday like Valentine's Day? The end.
That is so great.
I
Oh my
slammed
gosh.
the book closed so I can focus on my new bad mood. That is so great.
Mallory bars. That is, if you haven't read the book, you don't even realize how funny that is. That is so awesome.
So you're gonna have to read the book so you can get the joke.
That's right. Yes. And then you can reread this.
Rhonda, you wrote some other story. I think you've written several things in this voice, but there was someone else who like dropped something on the floor of the closet and was like, oh, well, like, I feel like it's that person come back to
Yep.
talk to us. And so you need to group those together because it's the same person, the same voice. I love that.
I think it's the sister, the one that has to like clean out somebody's, like somebody has died and they have to clean out the family. Isn't it the same person? I remember that kind of voice. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So.
a good memory. Yep.
Is that her?
Yep, that's her.
Great.
And, after we finish the book with Mom, these are going to go into. This is a character for the next book that we're going to write.
Oh,
in the
so,
same series.
so it's possible that I'll make it into this book and I won't be a prostitute.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say
Life
that.
goals.
Another inside joke. I did use Rhonda's name in my book.
But this
Right.
person
Before she
is
fell in
just
love with me.
being. This person is just so raw, and it's great that like it's so honest. Like the whole thing about like, well, I'm in a bad mood and I'm gonna just sit here and have this pity party for myself. Like just great. I just really like that. So authentic. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Love it.
Very good.
And I love that every single one of us put release party in it. I can't
Yeah,
even
we
believe
did.
that. And I just threw that at you guys at the very last minute. So that just shows how awesome you guys are. So
Oh,
fun.
and the overcompensating. I have so many glittery hearts and all this romance stuff because I don't have any real life. Like, oh my goodness, how amazing. What a really awesome detail for you to work in there. Sorry, I'm still
Aw,
gushing
thanks.
about your piece, but
It was
great.
Fine.
Yeah, 'cause
That's fine.
it was so show, not tell. It showed us. We know everything about this character. We know she's single. We know that she doesn't have a romance in her life. We know that, like, you know what I mean? Like, without her saying, so and so was alone on Valentine's Day, and it was very lonely for her. No, we already know that. You don't have to tell us. So it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
job.
Very
I don't know if
terrific.
you noticed, but she says Valentine's Day instead
I
of
did notice
Valentine's
that.
Day.
I thought
That's
you
what I
screwed
did
up,
with
so
my
I
last
didn't
2
say
minutes.
anything.
Yeah, I thought it was you making a mistake. So that's great that's actually what it is. That's awesome. I love it.
Cool.
All right. So that is it for our podcast for today, such as it has been.
Oh, are
A
we
lot
not
of
doing
fun.
accountability? Am I off the hook? I don't
Oh,
have to
I'm
confess
sorry.
what a slacker I've been.
No, we are looking forward to that.
All right.
So, all right, let's do accountability corner. Jenny or Jamie, why don't you just go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go first. I meant to go and look back at the old episode because I know that I pledged to be accountable to show up for office hours every day, which I did. Hooray. And I don't remember, like, I think I said I would come back and tell you all how much longer before I'd be done editing, which that's kind of a fail. Although I have been working along diligently, I still am not able to really wrap my head around what kind of work this is all entailing because it's book 3 in the series that I'm currently releasing. And I really want March 14th to be the launch day. The problem is, as I am going through the edits, I'm like, feeling a little anxious about that launch day. But then as I think about it, it can still be in March and not necessarily the 14th. So I may have to bump it, and only because it'll be longer than I thought before I can get it over to the people who I have look it over for errors and things like that. I'm kind of ahead of the game on the cover because I sort of have the benefit of doing the series is they all kind of look the same and you just have to change out a couple of elements and there you go. So I'm feeling optimistic, but I don't know that I have a real, yay, I met all my goals, except for writing in the office hours every day, which I did do. Hooray for me.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that's a pretty good goal that most writers aren't doing right now. So kudos to you.
Right,
Well,
because
that's how you
sometimes we
get
focus so much
motion.
on the little things that go along with writing that we forget how important the actual writing is, or I should say I do.
Right. Gotcha.
That's how you get books out. You butt in the seat writing. So
That's right. Yeah.
that's the most important thing.
So Tina, did you meet your goals?
Yes, I'm actually ahead of. I'm almost afraid to say that. I seem to be a little bit ahead of what the time frame that I gave myself. I didn't think I would be editing the Chugiak story until starting March 1st, and it's February 14th, and I'm like in my second or third day doing it. So
Yay.
Wow.
so I might have to move that. I don't know if I'm going to move the release up because I still need that 3 months for the promotion and stuff. So.
Okay.
So
So
my
next
goals
week
are
you're gonna
just
tell us.
to continue to follow what I've been doing, showing up to office hours, and keeping my mindset on what goals I have for each month and getting them done.
Sounds good. Jennifer.
All right, so showing up for office hours every day, top of the list. You guys know I have my mapping my releases, and we had a discussion, I think it was off camera, about how if I get behind this month, it takes everything else is out of whack. And so the only I have confidence I can do it. The only issue is going to be my husband was coming home. He's been out of state working, and he's coming home for a week beginning on Saturday. And I expressed to you guys as my friends that I was a little nervous about that because my husband is so supportive, more than I could ever ask for. But, you know, here he is coming home after a long time, and he probably had different expectations than I did. So I had a heart-to-heart with him, and I'm so glad I did because he appreciated me sharing with him my fears, and we were able to have a good open conversation about it. And so I feel really good about it. I think I'll be able to still, now I have to miss the first 2 days of office hours next week because of he has a doctor's appointment and we have our taxes. But I plan on writing those days just later in the day. So I am confident I'll be able to do it. So going forward, still office hours every day, so Monday and Tuesday are going to be my glitches. And then my goals for this month are release Anna. Check. Yay. I'm working on the cover for Esther. It has to be done by the end of the month, and I already have a rough draft that I'm pretty satisfied with. I have to finish up the final proof of Esther. Working on the Phoebe draft. Today I have to get through this chapter, and I will officially be halfway through the book editing, which is today is the halfway point of February. So feeling pretty good about that. I'm on track for that. So far, so good. I'm on track. What about you, Rhonda?
Awesome. All right. So I wanted to have my second draft done of my novella by the end of February. And I am, if I stay on the track I'm on right now, I'm going to be done probably an entire week ahead. So,
Awesome.
Of course, office hours every day next week. Well, I'm thrilled because I could envision sitting and writing every day, but actually seeing the end in sight didn't ever appear in those visions. I don't know why. And that's probably part of the problem. But anyway, I'm going to do office hours every day. I'm going to stay on the same track I'm on right now that's gotten me this far because I am the stereotypical procrastinator. If I have a goal, I don't have to do anything toward that goal until the night before and then try to get it all done in one day. So I am going to be working on a minute by minute basis to not procrastinate now that I see myself so far ahead. So
well, I wonder how that'll be something interesting for us to maybe talk about later off camera, because you're saying if you have a deadline. So I wonder if, you have to think about things a little bit differently. Like my deadline to have the first 15,000 words is blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Instead of, so that's interesting. Whatever. I'll shut up now. Good job, Rhonda.
Thanks. All right. Any last words from anybody?
Did we do everybody? Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope everybody sticks around and visits our Patreon page and watches what's coming next, because boy, is it a treat. We're going to share works that we have edited, and we'd like you to come along and see how our writing group actually works. So anyway, we're going to say goodbye for right now. And until next time, may your pen be prolific. Oh, let me see. What is my words?
May your deadlines be met.
Yes. It's a mental block for me.
Yes. Yep.
We could say the last line all together.
All right.
And
ready?
may all of your words out of
That was terrible.
horrible. Don't let's not ever do that again.
This is
Love
all
live
time that's going to be
broadcasting.
perfect for you tonight.
All right.
So,
Bye,
right,
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
bye.
Bye.